HR issues can kill you. One complaint against your company can turn your world upside down. And you spend way too much time dealing with HR when you should be spending your time on making a profit. You should talk to Bambee. With Bambee, get access to your own dedicated US-based HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They get to know you and your business while providing HR expertise and the personal touch you need and want. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly. Team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambee's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambee starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambee can take off your plate. Go to Bambee.com right now and type in Accelerate under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Spelled BAM, BEE.com. Bambee.com. Type in Accelerate.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to Accelerate Your Business Growth with your host, Diane Helbig. Diane is a leading small business development and leadership coach, author, and speaker who is passionate about sharing valuable ideas, tips, and techniques with business professionals worldwide. Diane brings you the world's experts and gurus in all things business. Whether it's sales, structure, social media, planning, or plateauing, guests bring their expertise and energy to each episode. When growing your business is your focus, Accelerate Your Business Growth is the show to listen to. Got a topic or guest suggestion? Let Diane know. The goal is to make sure you have the information you need to move your business forward. Thanks for joining us. Settle in and enjoy.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Audible.com. Audible.com is a leading provider of spoken audio entertainment and information. Listen to audiobooks whenever and wherever you want. Get a free book when you sign up for a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/businessgrowth. Accelerate Your Business Growth podcast is continuing to enjoy inclusion on lists of the best podcasts to listen to, and continues to gain recognition as a great resource for small business owners, entrepreneurs, sales professionals, business leaders of all types. And this is really because of the folks who join me. They have expertise in a particular area of business, and they give of their time and their talent to spend some time with me having a conversation where they share that expertise with all of you, so that you can get the answers you need and do better things in your business. Today is no exception. My guest today is Tim Bornholdt. Tim co-founded the Jed Mahonis Group in 2010. He helps businesses strategize and design iOS and Android mobile applications to bring products and services directly to their customers. His past application work includes Kwikly, which allows dental offices to hire qualified dentists, hygienists, and assistants, and Great Clips, an application for customers to check into salons. He's also a videographer and has had his work featured on Fox Business Channel, CNBC, and Bloomberg International. Thanks so much for joining me today, Tim.
Thanks, Dan. I'm really happy to be here.
I am thrilled to have you here. I was telling you before we started airing that this is a subject where we're talking about how to turn your business, your idea into an app, and This is a subject I am fascinated with. I probably, because I have absolutely no understanding of it, and yet on some level I know it's really valuable. So I want to dive right in.
Right on. I hope I'm not. It's a high bar, so I hope I live up to the expectation here.
I think you're going to be able to do this. So, how do I turn my idea into an app?
Well, that's really the $100 million question, right? There's so many ideas, there's so many businesses, there's so many things you can do with mobile apps, and I mean, apps have only really been around for 10 years now. So it's still really early days with how you can use this medium to accelerate your business growth. So, yeah, I mean, really, it depends on your idea, and we have a process at the Jed Mahonis Group where we work with you to kind of strategize your idea and make sure that we're setting you on the right course. And then, it all comes down to designing it and developing it and testing it and sending it out into the world.
Okay. So how do I want to ask this question? How does a company make sure that they should have an app? That it would be worth it, that they would actually get something from it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the important thing to keep in mind with apps is, I think when the apps first came out, people heard all these kinds of stories where people would put an app into the app store and overnight they made over $1 million. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of, myth still persists today. And, I like to say, I'm fond of saying the gold rush is over. There's really, there's over 1.5 million apps on each platform, iOS and Android individually. So the odds of you just putting your app into the store and sitting back and raking in millions, it's not going to happen. So the only way to really make money on the App Store now is to have sound strategy going into it. And I'm really also fond of saying that, an app at the end of the day is really just a tool. I mean, you still, when it comes down to business, you still need to provide value somehow to your customer. And whether you use an app as a tool to deliver that value, that's really up to you and how your business operates.
Okay, I love that. I think that is such a great point. So an app can, if I'm hearing you correctly, an app can enhance the service or product or whatever it is that you are providing to your client. So it can add value to whatever your deliverable is.
Exactly.
Okay. I think that's a key thing, because I agree with you. I think people are thinking, well, I'll create an app and everyone will use the app and I'll sell it for 99 cents and 1 million people will get it. And that's not really how they should be looking at it. They should be looking at it as a tool that is added on to what they're already doing.
Exactly. And I mean, if you look at the App Store now, most apps are free. So even the notion of putting your app in the store for any money is, it's hilarious when people are just, they go into Starbucks and they'll drop $8 on a drink without even thinking about it. But then they go on the App Store and they break into a cold sweat when they see 99 cents as a price tag on an app. It's just kind of, it's hilarious to me, the psychology of that. So, I mean, there's really the two ways to think about making money with apps is either, providing value to your customers outwardly, where the customer's paying for your app or doing something to get value out of it. Or another way that we've seen a lot of success is by using apps within your own internal organization as a way to, speed up your processes and save money. So it's, that's how anyone makes a profit in business, right? You either save more money or, earn more money. So either way you come about it, you can use apps to really help yourself out there.
That's interesting. I don't think I ever really thought very much about using apps internally to help streamline and lower costs. That's really interesting. Wow. Okay. Now I got to ask you the really big question that I know everyone is curious about. How much does an app cost to build?
Oh yeah, that is the big question. The app developer in me is always going to come back and say it depends ends. But I think one way that I like to help people understand, because what we do, at least at my company, is we do custom app development, and it's very, very similar to going out and building a house. So if it really depends, if you ask me how much does a house cost, you would right away see, 8 questions you would need to ask in order to really hone down, how big of a house do you need? Where is the house going to be located? How many bedrooms does it need? Does it need to have all these advanced things in it? Does it need to be in a good school district? All those kinds of things, factor into how much does a house cost. With apps, it's very similar. I mean, we've built apps for as cheap as $5,000. We've built apps for as expensive as $250,000. You can get all over the range depending on what kind of services you need. So, I think it really comes down to, again, how are you providing value either for yourself within your own business, or how are you providing value for your customers? And then what kinds of features do you need to put into that app in order to justify the expense to actually get that built out?
Okay. So are there, so I guess part of what I'm hearing is apps aren't necessarily necessary for every business. Like, every business doesn't have to figure out how to get an app built.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, not every business needs a wrecking ball. That's a very specific tool that is used in very specific industries. I think a lot of people think mobile apps and websites are synonymous. I do think that every business needs a website. I think this day and age in 2019, it's pretty ridiculous if you're not even visible, in Google. You're missing out greatly. Yeah. But in terms of mobile apps, I mean, no, they are expensive to build. Not everybody loves having apps. I think the last time I looked up this stat, there was, I think in any given day, I think people use on average 12 apps on their phone. And this includes things like the alarm clock, your text messaging app, your phone app, the internet browser, the Facebook app, so like by the time you get and you look at all of the apps that people are using, they're using a very small number of apps in any given day. So in order for yourself to justify fitting in there, again, it all comes back to your user, your customer, and the value that you're providing to make sure that what you're offering as a business makes sense in terms of a mobile app.
Yeah, that is such a huge point. Okay, I'm going to take a quick sponsor break, and then I have some more questions. Accelerate Your Business podcast is happy to be sponsored by Audible.com. Audible.com is a leading provider of spoken digital audio entertainment and information. They have over 150,000 titles to choose from, and you can listen to them on any device, including whatever you're hearing us on right now. And if you sign up at our link, which is audibletrial.com/businessgrowth, you get 1 free audiobook and a 1-month trial of the service. Some examples of books you can listen to on audible.com are The Inside Track by Peter Sage and The Irresistible Consultant's Guide to Winning Clients by David A. Fields. So visit audibletrial.com/businessgrowth, explore the books that are of interest to you, and receive 1 free audiobook when you sign up for the trial. Today we're speaking with Tim Bornholdt about turning your idea into an app. Okay, so we talked a minute ago about using apps internally, and I'm wondering if you can provide us with an example or two of like what that would look like in a company.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, these are the kind of apps that I actually really love talking about and building because, as somebody that's been doing computer development for over 20 years, my life and the way I kind of view the world is in terms of systems and in terms of kind of optimizing the most efficient way to do a job. And so, working with businesses is one of my favorite things to do, to figure out, you're doing something that takes, 8 hours. Why don't we turn it into something that takes 8 minutes? And then, you just saved all that time. One company that we're working with right now, they do manufacturing, and as part of their process, they have to take measurements of the end product and put them into, the way they do it right now is on a piece of paper, they take they have 30 of the products and they sample 30 times on those products, and they take those measurements and they put it into an Excel spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet then crunches a whole bunch of data and then spits out this other form, which then they take that form, turn it into a PDF, and then that form they send to their boss. Now, right there, you probably all just fell asleep thinking about how long and tedious, that kind of a process is. And to me too, I'm just like, why? How and why? So, what we're doing with them is, instead of having to, one, write it down on a piece of paper and then transfer it into a computer, all of that stuff, we're turning it into a mobile app. So we're also even hooking up with a Bluetooth caliper, which is what takes those measurements. So when they're going through, they don't even have to type anything into their phone. They hook up this Bluetooth instrument to their phone, take 30, push a button 30 times, and then they hit submit, and their thing is done. They have the report generated. It can be emailed or sent by Dropbox or whatever to their boss. And it just took, that process was taking them roughly, an hour and a half to finish all of that. And we've got it whittled down now to however long it takes to just run through those tests, which is like, 5 minutes. So those are the kinds of efficiency gains that we really like to help find. And it's not for every business. You kind of have to get to a certain size, but even with really small businesses, especially, as another example, service-based businesses, we work with companies to figure out when they're doing their quoting process. We're working with another company that does steel manufacturing, and they have this process down where, to be able to bid out a steel project, it takes hours and hours of going through and doing measurements and doing all these different things with blueprints, right? So what they do instead with the system that they've worked with and that we're optimizing is, you can go in and just type in a couple of values, and it turns this, several day process into literally 3 hours of work to go through the whole sheet top to bottom. So just think about like things like that, where you're spending all this time estimating. We can work with you to figure out how do you take those long processes and automate things and shift things around so that you're not having to manually crunch numbers and do all this guessing. It's repeatable and systemic.
That is awesome. It's really incredible. I mean, the amount of time and money that saves, as well as probably decreasing mistakes because it's, automated as opposed to by hand doing something. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Like when you can kind of realize, and it's almost kind of a bug once you start realizing, I really like starting small when you're doing something like this. Just find one process that's annoying in your business. And as soon as you turn it into an app and you just, that one process, you get, like I said, you kind of get the bug and you start, make another small add to the app to fix another thing. And it just kind of grows, and you see over time how much time you're saving by using the software, as opposed to having, actual people going out and doing all this work and spending all this labor and getting things done.
Right. Okay. Is there, if someone was thinking about starting a business and they were thinking that there should be an app component to it, does it make sense for them to first start the business and get it going and then work on an app? Or if they really feel like it's an integral part, should they do both at the beginning? Like, what's your thought on that? Or does it matter?
I think, it does matter, I guess, in the sense of if your business is really based around a mobile app or any kind of technology, you kind of need to know, you have to go in eyes wide open, knowing costs and everything before you go down the route of, getting customers and all that. So, we have one business you mentioned in the intro that we work with, Kwikly. They do dental staffing on demand. So they have like a network of dental hygienists that have the app installed on their phone, and then offices, when they need to have a temporary hygienist come in and fill in for the day, they post a job, and then all the hygienists that match the criteria for the job get notified, and someone takes the job and they show up, clock in and out, and they're done. Well, the reason that app came about was because the founders, they have family members that are hygienists that do this temp work. And the way that it was happening before was you would, again, like an office would need a hygienist. So they would call down this list of people. I literally get on the phone and call 30 people until somebody answered. And then they would go in, and then the hygienist would take a piece of paper, fill out the paper, mail it in, mind you, not even take a picture of it and text it to somebody, but you have to mail in a piece of paper. And then like a couple of weeks later, they process the time cards manually and then mail out a check. And so the idea of having an app like facilitate all of this for them, obviously I think that's pretty integral to the whole the whole company. So we worked with them right from day one, basically, to help figure out what are these processes going to look like and help everything from the tech side. So I would say if you're considering going down the path of having an app be kind of the centerpiece of your company's strategy, that it really does pay to have somebody technical help you guide those decisions from as early as possible.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So what do you see like rookie mistakes people make when they're starting to build a mobile app?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest mistake that people make, again, is thinking that they need to have an app with just kind of for the vain reason of we need an app. I think people they kind of underestimate how much it's going to cost in the long run. So that's one of the big mistakes. Another really big mistake that I see is people think that advertising inside apps is this kind of panacea that's going to solve all of your problems with the revenue side of things. The return on ad revenue in mobile apps is ridiculously low. If you want to see any kind of like let's say you just want to even make like $1 million off of your app, you would need to get hundreds of millions of users using your app in order to see returns like that through the traditional sources. So I think that's one big mistake, is kind of having the idea for the app and not thinking through the possible revenue models, and especially thinking that advertising is going to be the catch-all to solve that problem. That's another really big rookie mistake that I see. Yeah,
I could see that. And if someone has a relatively small business and they think they want to have an app, there's those sites out there where you can build your own app and it sort of lives on, whatever. I'm not quite sure how they work. Do you think that is a good avenue for someone who, has a really small budget and doesn't necessarily need something? Or would you advise that it's better not to have an app at all because of the quality?
I would say it depends on what kind of app you're looking to go after. Okay. If you're talking about something that's customer facing, and a tool that's going to help you build brand through it, you don't want to put something low quality in front of your customers, because I think they'll be pretty unforgiving, and people can spot a less than quality mobile app as opposed to something that's been well considered and designed and tested and everything. But I think in terms of, if we're talking about for your small business, if you're looking at building an app to help with your processes and help kind of get you going down the right path of automating things, I think there's a lot of good tools out there that can help you just getting started. I mean, even just as simple as a pen and paper to start and figure out what your repeatable process is going to be, and then moving that into, say, a Google Sheet or something like that, where it's nothing high tech, it's just a shared spreadsheet. And then you, as you grow, you run into the limitations. Obviously, the limitation of pen and paper is it's not accessible by everybody at any given point. So then you move to the cloud. And then when you're in this Google Sheet, you start to see, well, we can't really do, X, Y, and Z features. So then you move to the next thing. And I think that as you're a small business with budget's obviously a huge concern, and cash flow and everything, I think taking those early steps with more rudimentary technology to really hone your process down. And then when you're ready and you kind of have reached those limits of what those kind of basic tools will do for you, that's when you can come and talk to somebody like us, where we can see what your process is now and then help you devise a way to make it more custom and fit exactly the kind of process that you've come up for yourself.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Thank you. And then how does someone get their app into the App Store? I hear it's really hard with Apple.
You heard correct. So they both Apple and Google have review processes, and when you work with somebody like us or any developer, like it's unlikely that you as the product owner that's not actually in the code are going to be the one that's sending apps to the App Store or the Play Store. Your developer is probably going to help you with that. But when you're talking about Google, their process is almost fully automated, and your app starts showing up in the store within hours, and going throughout the world. It takes some time. When you're talking about Apple, though, they're a little more careful about what they allow onto their platform, and I think you can weigh the pros and cons, but for better or worse, they do a much more thorough human involved review of the app. So what happens is, especially on your first couple of submissions, they'll actually have people go through your app and play with it and test it out and make sure that there's that it's not, spyware or porn or anything like, crazy like that. And then they check to make sure that it provides value, that it doesn't just crash and all that kind of stuff. But they also, Apple has some weird bugaboos too about what they allow in and out of the store. And I mean, we've had our apps, we get rejected all the time from Apple. And what the rejection looks like is they send you a note and say, we found this and this issue with it. Can you either give us more information, or can you remove that feature, or can you add something else in? And that's the kind of stuff where, working with a team we've submitted hundreds of apps now to the store. So I think we have a good idea of, if you give us an idea of what you want to show in your app, we can tell you, well, Google is like almost the Wild West, basically, like you'll get in, that's fine. But Apple, you might want to consider adding in, if you're going to do this feature, you have to also do this feature, or, maybe that's not going to happen on Apple. So just focus on Google, or, however you want to approach it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It is. It's, my gosh. So I really appreciate this information. See, I knew this was, I feel so much better educated now. It is, so therefore, I'm imagining the listeners do as well. So speaking of them, will you tell them, how they can find you and what you've got going on these days?
Yeah. If you're looking to have an app built for your business, definitely reach out to us at the Jed Mahonis Group, jedmahonisgroup.com. And if you're interested in this topic more of just kind of the ins and outs of app development, we do have a podcast called Constant Variables, and that's at constantvariables.co. And we're right now in the middle of a mini series going through the entire app development lifecycle. So if you're interested in how you take an idea from the idea to an actual app, we have kind of a small series of episodes that we're in the middle of releasing right now. So definitely check us out in either of those places, and I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has about this stuff.
That's so great. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, and thanks for telling us about that series. I know a couple people who I think will be interested in listening to that. So outside of just
fantastic
the listener base. Yeah. So thank you for spending the time, and I'd like to thank the listeners and our sponsor. If you would like to get a free trial of audible.com and a free audiobook when you do that, go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth to sign up. As always, continue to prosper and be curious. And until we meet again on another episode of Accelerate Your Business Growth, goodbye and good day.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Do you love news about LinkedIn, Indeed, Google, and just about every other recruitment tech company out there?
Hell yeah. I'm Chad.
I'm Cheese.
We're the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
All the latest recruiting news and insights are on our show.
Dripping in snark and attitude.
Subscribe today wherever you listen to your podcasts. We out.